Green weaving, trying to get the shot up. No call that way. Curry swings it the other way. And he got it!
Well, I didn't expect that, and that was still 2015, so I'm sure a lot of you didn't expect that either. To end the third quarter of a potential closeout game 6 on the road, the Warriors are trying to maintain their 5-point lead entering the fourth quarter. Well, I really doubt that any one of them thought they would turn right back around and tack on 3 more points before the quarter ended, because with 2.3 seconds left on the clock, Jeff Green tries some weird hybrid between a leaning 3-point shot and a chest bump, for crying out loud, with Andre Iguodala. And it just so happens that the ball is bouncing directly into the direction of Steph Curry, who, as soon as he touches the ball, heaves a 62-foot shot from the other side of the court and hit nothing but the bottom of the net. And every time I go back and watch this shot by Steph from 7 years ago, the more it dawns on me just how improbable not just the shot was, but how improbable the attempt was. I mean, it was almost as wild as this nearly groundbreaking full court shot by Joel Embiid during the 2020 season.
Missed it, Embiid! Oh!
The fact that he snatched the rebound, turned around, and chucked a one-armed heave from 85 feet away, all in 0.8 of a second, is just impossible. And I know he missed, but still. The shot was merely inches away from becoming the most unbelievable game winners in the history of basketball. But the difference between Steph's shot and Embiid's, well, almost shot, is that the ball bounced perfectly in position for Steph to launch from 60+ feet out. Embiid's came off a rebound and then a turnaround from 85 feet. If we want to talk about actual game winners and game-winning shots that felt just as impossible as Steph's end-of-quarter heave against the Grizzlies, why look any further than the shot Steph hit less than a year after the shot against Memphis? I'm talking about not just any three-pointer, not just any shot, and certainly not just any game winner. I'm talking about arguably the most recognizable long-range game winner in the history of the NBA. It's certainly in the conversation.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
When I watched this shot go down on a Saturday night early in 2016, I didn't realize at the time, but that shot right there, began the famed 3-point shooting era of basketball that we are all witnessing in full force today. 12 of 16 from downtown. He broke his own record for the most 3-pointers in a season, and it was only February. We still had a month and a half to play in the regular season, and he hit a shot that I think everyone can say almost definitively that we've never seen before to win the game. Steph exited that game against OKC with 288 made 3-pointers on the season, which was, of course, a new record. But get this, he finished the season with 402. So let me get this straight. It took Steph only until game 58 of the season to earn the nod for the greatest 3-point shooting season of all time? No other player in the NBA that season even made 300 threes. Matter of fact, there were only 24 other guys in the NBA who made more 3-pointers than Steph attempted during that entire 2015-16 season. Now let that sink in for a second. Thought about it enough? Okay, cool. I was only getting started. You see, on January 15th, 2019, the back-to-back defending champion Golden State Warriors were in the Mile High City to square off against the Denver Nuggets. And prior to the tip-off of that game, both teams entered the building with a 29-14 record and were looking to claim the #1 spot in the Western Conference. The Nuggets were really good. They were having their best season in over a decade and now had a superstar big man in Nikola Jokic to facilitate a potential deep run in the postseason. Well, people were asking days leading up to that game whether or not the Nuggets are now all of a sudden the biggest threat out west to Golden State's crown. And in response to all that speculation, well,
Play around Jokic. Oh, Klay Thompson! Iguodala running the floor, the former Nugget.
And when they do miss, Warriors rebound.
Draymond the lob, Alfonso McKinney. Steph Curry, a good look. And another triple. Final 5 seconds. Durant! And a 51-point quarter.
A 51-point quarter, and arguably the toughest venue to play in all of the NBA. Steph, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant in just 12 minutes of action combined for 42 of the Warriors' 51 points and hit 10 3-pointers between the three of them. And some people still doubt if this team was the greatest collection of talent that we've ever seen. Like, how? I think it'll be a long time before we see a trio of shooters on one team greater than the Warriors from 2016 to 20.
Curry had JaMychal Green up in the air, and he's fouled as he hits a three. Klay Thompson on the out of bounds, bottoming a three. And Poole's going to walk into a three. Oh, the kid is ridiculous.
Wait, I guess they've found another one? Apparently, the Warriors chose to have some of the most explosive scoring stretches in NBA history against the poor Denver Nuggets. I mean, come on. Denver is literally standing there and saying, like, what did we do to deserve this? And besides, didn't the Warriors trio of the greatest shooters ever already break up like 3 years ago? Yeah, well, they formed again. This time, they brought along another guard instead of a 7-foot sniper to splash away on the 3 balls. Okay, now let me ask you this. What's more impressive, 51 points in 12 minutes or 70 points in 19 minutes? Because a little over 3 years after the Warriors with Kevin Durant hung 51 points in 12 minutes against the Nuggets, the Warriors, again, went on a scoring rampage in the second game of the 2022 NBA playoffs when the trio of Steph, Klay, and the rising Jordan Poole introduced to the rest of the NBA the most unstoppable small ball lineup in the league. And they did it to the tune of a 44-point third quarter and a combined 84 points in complete destruction of the Denver Nuggets. And now, I'll be completely honest. There was a part of me that wanted to believe that the Warriors' reign of dominance was already over, and that we had seen the last of Steph Curry and company holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the season, and that greatest backcourt and the greatest tandem of shooters ever would slowly begin to fade. And again, I'll be completely honest. That entire notion couldn't be further from the God's truth. Let's put it this way. After the Warriors won 15 games in 2020 and then followed that season up by missing the playoffs again, if someone asked you the chances that the Warriors would win another championship, you'd probably be more likely to say 1 in a million instead of predicting that they win another championship ever again in the Steph era. Forget just the next season, I mean ever. But to the pleasant surprise of, I would say, many, the Warriors turned 2 years of losing into an NBA title. Somehow, some way, I can't compute it either. I mean, in a span of months, the Warriors went from this to this. And you seriously are bashing me for thinking that the Warriors dynasty was long over? But in the 2-year hiatus from all the winning, the Warriors were only getting healthier and even more talented. Consecutive years of getting lottery picks has brought on board several incredibly potent young players that could again change the entire dynamic of this team. What were the chances the Warriors would go from the worst team in the NBA to the best team in the NBA in a span of 650 days? And what were the chances the Warriors would go on to draft their potential future Big Three while their current Big Three is still working their magic with their own dynasty that is clearly still very much alive?
And that'll do it. It's over. The Golden State Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world. The 4th title in 8 years. The Dubs dynasty is still very much alive.
Are you impressed yet by this entire story of the Steph Curry-led Warriors? We've seen a number of dynasties throughout the course of NBA history, but this Warriors dynasty and all of the insane moments we have witnessed over the years is probably all something we'll see just 1 in a million times.